Hey guys, we are back with some more Salt Lake City Lakers franchise mode. In the last one, we got absolutely whooped by the Minnesota Wild, swept out in the playoffs in 4 games. It really wasn't close. They had us right from the very beginning. 6-3 loss in game number 1, 5-4 overtime loss in game number 2. That was as close as we got to getting a win. 3-1 loss in game number 3 and a 6-2 loss in game number 4. Just all around not ideal. And I don't think I showed this in the last video, but our power play was literally nowhere to be found. On 6 opportunities, 0% power play. So all these teams over here, like, they played no more than 4 games. Some of them had 14 power plays, 13, 12. We had 6. So not only did we not score on the power plays that we had, but we also didn't have very many of them either. So that's a huge problem. Our penalty kill was fine. So we must have been letting in goals 5-on-5, and we weren't scoring. It was just all around bad situation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to edit Mr. Peyton Dundas's fighting tendency, because he's just in the box way too often because of fighting majors. He had 19 fights last season, and we, as our top defenseman, we need him on the ice basically whenever he can be on the ice. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into, where am I going here? Details. And then all the way down at the bottom, we're going to set his fighting tendency from often, yeah, figures, to, let's go rarely. I'll still allow him to fight, but I don't want him fighting often. No chance. He needs to be on the ice for basically any situation, and he can't be fighting once every 4 games. I mean, that's literally 19 fights over 82 games. That's literally almost once every 4 games. I don't want him sitting in the box that often. And hopefully he can get more points that way as well. And of course, being that he's a defenseman, help out more defensively. So that's all I wanted to do there. Now we are going to go ahead to the draft. We're going to try to get through as much of the offseason as possible in this video, and then try to make it ahead to the start of year number 9. Because honestly, we have a very young team. So I don't know how many changes I really want to make. The Stanley Cup champions are the Minnesota Wild, so at least we lost to the Stanley Cup champions, but it's not like we made it far, right? So the draft lottery, Columbus goes from 5-1. Vancouver moves up to number 2. Nashville moves from 16 to 3. And then Winnipeg gets bumped down to 4. Then LA, Detroit, Anaheim, Calgary, St. Louis, Vegas, Detroit, Carolina, the Rangers, Toronto, and your Salt Lake City Lakers via the Montreal Canadiens. So we had a small chance at the lottery. Didn't get that lottery this year, unfortunately, but we've had plenty of lottery picks in the past, so we didn't necessarily need it. So as we go ahead to the retirements, you have Ovi retiring with, oh man, he was very close to 1,000 goals, 966 goals, broke the Great Ones record there. Fantastic career for Ovi. Then you have Marchand with 1,224 points. Ryan O'Reilly also retiring along with Oshie. Doughty, so Doughty leaves our team this year. Couture, Petrangelo, JVR, Yosi, Stepan, Subban, Tatar, Shen, Kadri. We lose Kadri as well. Kind of figured that. Palmieri, Killorn, Nyquist, Eller, Silverberg, Kreider, Donskoy, Hayes, Gardner, Petrie, Pearson, Panic, Eakin. We lose Eakin as well. And then what about goaltenders? Did Holtby retire? Let's see. Markstrom, Ranta, Bernier, Nilsson, Dell. Yeah, he didn't retire. DeSmith, Domingue, and Chris Tanev is now coach for the Florida Panthers. And Drew Doughty is now a coach as well. So, I mean, we don't have him completely on board yet, given we haven't signed him to a coach contract, but he is available to sign as a coach if we so choose to sign him. So that'll be interesting. We'll at the very least have to check what he's about as a coach. I'm not doing draft interviews. And into the NHL Entry Draft we go. So I'm not expecting a huge draft here. We'll start with our first round pick. We'll manually do this, but I think after the second or third round, I think we're just going to go auto. I don't usually do that, but there's not much this year. There's really not. There's Ehrhoff. He'll be available at 61, so we can take him with our second or third round pick. Rissmiller, he's available at 66. There's really not much. There's Pagaduan, Not entirely sure how to pronounce that. There's Petterstrom. Let's just sort by central scouting rank here. Glass, we don't have a scouting report on. There is Bloodoff. I think overall, I'm the most impressed with Pagaduan. But then again, Per Petterstrom looks pretty good as well. Not that we really need a defenseman, but he looks pretty solid. There's also the low elite Mats Dansk. He's 3 years away from the NHL. Actually, I might want to take Mats Dansk. Usually those low elites who are a couple years away from the NHL, they can grow pretty well. For me right now, it's between Dansk and Petterstrom. And Pagaduan as well. He's also pretty impressive. But you know what? We have a lot of small scoring wingers like Pagaduan. So I think it's between Petterstrom and Dansk. And Dansk looks more NHL ready, even though it says it's about the same NHL ETA for both of them. But it looks like Dansk has the better grades overall. So I think we'll be taking Mats Dansk here. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Lakers. He's a 65 overall with a low elite. So pick number 19 now. Right, we have 2 first-round picks. Unfortunately, that defenseman who we were looking at was taken. There's Jackson Kessel. He's 3 years away from the NHL as well. Yeah, I'd be willing to take a chance on him. Welcome to Salt Lake City. He is a medium top 4, 64 overall. Not bad. And now as we head to pick 46 here, second round pick, there's still Ehrhoff available, but we don't need a goaltender. We really don't. There's Rissmiller, who, actually, he could be pretty good. He's already 19, but he might be only like 3 years away from the NHL if that NHL ETA is accurate. I mean, it could also be 2 years away from the NHL if we're lucky. So, yeah, I'll take a chance on Rissmiller, even though he's 19. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Lakers. 66 overall, medium top 6. Now we have another second round pick here. There's Park. Matthew Park, 5 years away from the NHL. Could be a medium elite. Also might not be. There's the guaranteed medium elite goaltender in Felix Ehrhoff, but again, don't really feel motivated to take him. There's no low elites left. There's a medium top 6 forward in Frazee. He's 5 years away from the NHL. So anyone who we take here, we're probably not going to see in this series. So it doesn't matter too much who we take, to be honest. Let's take a chance on Park. Yeah, we'll see if that's a medium elite. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Lakers. He is a medium top 6. We have another second round pick right after that. So we may as well take that Dean Frazee guy, who is the guaranteed medium top 6. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Lakers. He is a 48 overall, so very low overalls. Once again, not going to see them in this series. Getting to pick 64 now. And I mean, we could take Ehrhoff. It's around the time when he's supposed to go anyway. According to Central Scouting, he's the best player available right now. What about Moroza? Oh, actually, I want to take Moroza. He's a defenseman, a small defenseman, but he's only 3 years away from the NHL. He's an offensive defenseman as well. Yeah, we'll take Moroza. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Lakers, and we actually didn't see what overall he is. He is a 64 overall, low top 4. So we'll use our third round pick here, and then I think after this we will sim the rest of the draft because there's not really much left, unfortunately. There's a couple low top 4 defensemen, and Korhonen and Vernarski. And Korhonen is 1 year closer to the NHL than Vernarski is, so we will be taking him with this pick. And he's a 60 overall. And now we will just sim the entire draft. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Lakers. Yeah, I'm glad we did not go through the whole draft here. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Lakers. Dansk, Kessel, Rissmiller, Park, Frazee, Moroza, Korhonen, Imanen, Verada, Cogliano, Kuka, Seidenberg, Moen, Piorala, and Radulov. So Hope's down to a 79 overall now. We are going to be releasing him for sure. And we may as well sign Le Cavalier here. He is up for his rookie contract. Defenseman, you have Malak. And then for UFA forwards, you have Eastwood, Teddy, Zarnik, and Crosby. Crosby's 78 overall now. You did well for us last year, but we'll release him. We'll see what's out there. We'll release Zarnik as well. We'll release Teddy. He doesn't want to re-sign, so Teddy memes are coming to an end, unfortunately. But time for him to move on. Eastwood, welcome to the team. So we got all of our UFA skaters. We got our UFA goaltenders. We didn't really have too many UFAs this year. We do have a couple RFAs, though. We have Lambos and Wah. Do we have any RFA goaltenders? No, not really. We don't really have too many free agents this year overall. So Lambos and Wah, what do you guys want? We have 23.5 in cap space, so we have more than enough to sign both of these guys, I would imagine. Lambos wants 6 mil for 5 years. Yeah, may as well give you the 5 years since your asking price stays about the same, and we'll go down on your salary about, I'll take you down to we'll start at 5.6. And for Joshua Wah, you want roughly the same, so we'll go 5.6 for 5 years for both of them. Eastwood signs, Wah signs, Lambo signs, very good. We didn't have any RFA issues this year. Malak, LeCavalier, and I believe that is it as far as free agents go. Yep, that is it. So we're on July 1st now, and once again, didn't really have too many free agent issues going on this season. So let's take a look at our roster makeup currently. In goal, you have Kistov and Strachan. We do need a backup goaltender. Kistov will, for sure, be the full-time starter going into next season. I know he didn't have the greatest playoffs, but it was only one playoffs, His first full season in the NHL. We'll give him another chance. No point in letting him go just yet. Defensemen, you have Dundas, Goddard, Dumba, Lambos, Fleury, Sterling, and then Doughty retired. So, I mean, that's a pretty solid defensive core all around. I don't know about Sterling just yet. I mean, I would like to give him the chance, but we'll see how the chemistry works out, I suppose. And forward-wise, you have Marner, Wright, and Plekanec. Burakovsky, who's up to an 87 now, after the phenomenal season last year. LaRose, who's up to an 86. Wah, who's up to an 85. Messier, Naslund, Nieuwendyk, Atkinson's down to a 76. Yikes. So if we're going same lines as last year, or relatively the same lines as last year, we have Plekanec, Wright, and Burakovsky on the first line. Second line, you have Wah on the left wing, and then LaRose and Marner. Third line can be Messier, Nieuwendyk, and I want to say Naslund. I feel like he could be a pretty good fit for the third line if he was given a chance, but he might be more of a tweener. Like, I might have him switch between the third and fourth line depending on what we need and what the situation is at any given time. But Nieuwendyk and Messier are definites on the third line. So we basically just have to get someone to replace Crosby. And then the fourth line, I would say Naslund. And then we do need a couple of good fourth liners there. You have Naslund, but you don't have anyone else really. And Atkinson went down in overall, so I don't know if he's going to be... He might just be a fill-in player, especially considering our situation, right? We're trying to go for the cup, so we got to have the best overall players in there possible, and the best fit players as well. As far as defense goes, it'll be Dundas and Dumba, no doubt about that. And then on the second pair, it'll be probably Fleury and Goddard. So that leaves Lambos on the third pair. Yeah, if the pairs stay relatively the same as last year, like Dundas and Dumba, and then Fleury and Goddard, then Lambos is definitely going to need someone more offensively minded than Sterling is, because Sterling is a defensive defenseman. Yeah, I think Sterling might have to be on his way out here, or we just keep him as a seventh defenseman. But I'd hate to stunt a young kid's growth by just keeping him as a seventh defenseman. You know, that's a role that you give to like a 35-year-old or someone who's towards the end of their career. You know, so I think it'd be best to trade Sterling, I think, and then find a offensive defenseman to play with Lambos. So we have 12.3 to work with in cap space. So we can't afford anyone too expensive, given that we need 4 players. So average of 3 mil per player. Let's start with defensemen and see what we can find here. You have Leddy, Honka, Butcher, Montour, Vatanen, Pionk, Anderson, Wah, Gustafsson, and Dumoulin are the guys who stand out. And actually there's Foote as well, but I don't think Cal Foote is an offensive guy. About Vatanen, he's 36 years of age. He had 34 points last year. He could definitely be an option. He's not physical, but we have plenty of other defensemen who lay the body, plenty of our forwards as well. So Vatanen might not be a bad idea, although he does want $5.2 million for salary. All these defensemen are asking for a lot of money. I don't know if I really want to get one out of free agency, because none of them are really popping out at me. I mean, Leddy, but, you know, he's $10 million. That's basically all of our remaining cap space, and then we wouldn't have any remaining for the 3 forwards that we need. So I think what that third line really needs is a nice power forward type player. And I know JT Miller, he's not a power forward, but he does simulate like one. He has 17 goals last year and 26 assists for 43 points and 141 hits in 17:31 of ice time. 53% on faceoffs, so you can trust him with faceoffs if you have to. And he also fits in on our third line, which is where he would be playing. So I think, given the salary that he wants, given all of his stats, I think JT Miller makes perfect sense here. So we're going to give him 1 year instead of 2, and we'll give him 4.25. So a guy for our fourth line here, Trent Frederick. He only wants 1.7 mil. He got 11 goals last year. Face-off percentage sitting at a 54.66%. Gets a lot of hits. Not too great with the takeaway to giveaway ratio, but I can live with that as long as he's doing his job physically and on face-offs. So really, there is no reason not to sign him as we are looking for a fourth line center. So I'll give him 2 years because he's at a decent age, 29 years of age. I'll give him 2.1. And the last guy for the fourth line, Jake De La Rose. He is an 80 overall, 17 goals last year. And what's important for me here, physicality, 97 hits last year, and consistent 100 hit guy, and not too terrible with the takeaways and giveaways either. So I'm not expecting much out of him point-wise, but as long as he does the job physically, don't really mind about that. I'll give him 1 year for 2.55. So now we're going to see if all those guys signed. Jake De La Rose has signed, JT Miller has signed, and Trent Frederick has signed as well. So all the forwards are now on board. Now we have to try to find an offensive defenseman to play with Lambos. The defenseman will be Ryan Merkley from the San Jose Sharks. It's going to be a 1-for-1 deal. Sterling for Merkley. We're not using Sterling. Merkley, he's very talented offensive awareness-wise, and he looks like he could use a change of scenery there in San Jose. Gone downhill quite a bit since this season right here. 30 points, gone down to 21, then 16. It doesn't look like he's getting too much power play time either, and he would definitely be on our power play. So Sterling straight up for Merkley. Proposed trade accepted. No-brainer for them. No-brainer for me as well, considering, we kind of need an offensive defenseman to play with Lambos. And now all we need is a backup goaltender for Mr. Kistov. And at that point, we will be set to go into next season. So we're going to go for Lucas Dostal here as our backup goaltender. He's got a .908 save percentage in 23 games played. He only had 8 wins, but that may just be his team, So, and he's pretty, other than this season right here, he's pretty consistent. So we will be, nope, I did not mean to back out. Button lag. We will sign Lucas Dostal. So we'll give you a 1-year deal at 1.6. And there you go. There's Dostal. We are now set to move into year number 9. And in the middle of the offseason, we have a trade to Montreal, Jamie Benn and a third, and to Vegas, a first and Donald. Another trade to Montreal, Granlund and a third. So Montreal loading up. And to Nashville, Halvardson, a third and a fourth. And we are at the start of year number 9, so now it's been a very long recording, so we're just going to check out the roster and the growth and just end things off. So Kistov is now an 89 overall. That's what you'd like to see. Official elite goaltender. We'll see what he can do this year. And Lucas Dostal as the backup. On defense, you have Goddard, Dundas, Dumba, Lambos, Fleury, Merkley, and Malak is currently the 7th defenseman. I might want to get somebody else for that, considering he's a very young player and still technically a minor league top 4 defenseman, so might want to go out to free agency or maybe trade for a 7th defenseman. And forward-wise, you have Marner, Wright, Plekanec, Burakovsky, LaRose, who's now an 87 overall, Waugh, Messier is now an 83, Miller, Neuendijk's also an 83, Frederick, Naslund, De La Rose, Atkinson's a 78, so he stayed at a 78. He went temporarily down to a 76, but he didn't grow at all, so that's unfortunate. And that'll be about it for this one. So let me know what you guys think of the changes that we made over this offseason, and in the next one, we will start the Year 9 simulation. See you guys then.